namely that antidepressants often do not do what they promise and are in fact causing harm to many.
Dr. Steve Hotze is suing over Obamacare's employer mandate.
It's time for a wellness revolution. Brought to you by Hotze Health and Wellness Center. Honest discussion on maintaining health and wellness naturally to enjoy a better quality of life.
He's the doctor fighting to let you keep your doctor.
Now, Dr. Stephen Hotze.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. I'm Stacey Banfield here with Dr. Stephen Hotze, who is the founder of the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. And if you have any questions for Dr. Hotze today, then give us a call at 713-212-5950. That's 713-212-5950. And also want to remind people that you can download our podcasts. Yes, we have podcasts. You can listen to them day or night. All you have to do, very easy, go to hotzepodcast.com. That's HOTZE. podcast.com, and you can look at all of our radio shows, listen to them any time of day. It's very, very convenient. We do want to give a big shout out to everybody who has been listening to those podcasts. We're getting some really, really good responses. So, Dr. Hotze.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to each one of you. Thanks for joining us here today on Wellness Revolution. As a matter of fact, it's named after me.
You're right.
Dr. Hotze's
It
Wellness
is.
Revolution. And our goal in hosting this program is to encourage you, challenge you to take charge of your health. Now, I believe this. I believe that each one of you needs a health coach. That means you need a doctor and a staff of professionals who will coach you onto a path of health and wellness naturally so you enjoy a better quality of life without using pharmaceutical drugs. Does that make sense?
It does.
And that is what informs the way we evaluate and treat you when you come in. So I believe that, frankly, the way we treat you is as important as the treatment we provide you here. So we have a center that specializes in hospitality, providing extraordinary hospitality and guest service. It's completely different than a doctor's office. And in the context of hospitality, we provide medical care. And the medical care we provide is based on an evaluation and treatment program that is natural in its approach as opposed to pharmaceutical drugs. Now, today, I want to warn you, particularly those of you that have had flooding in your homes because of the rain that was associated with Hurricane Harvey when it came into Houston this past week. I don't know the final count of the homes. I talked to Commissioner Raddick today. I read online it was 30 or 40,000 homes had been damaged. He says there's over 100,000 homes that have been flooded.
Oh, my gosh.
In the greater Houston area. And that really puts you in harm's way, those of you that have had your house flooded. And the reason is because of the wetness and the dampness, you're going to grow mold in your house. And mold is a fungus. And there are all different types of molds that grow in a wet, humid environment. And the molds sporate. They give off spores, and those spores will be inhaled. And so for those of you that have allergy problems, this is going to exacerbate your problems. The reason is, right now we happen to be in weed pollen season. And that means all the weeds are pollinating. The most common weed we think of here in the greater Houston area and throughout the South, in the Gulf Coast area, is ragweed. And ragweed's a plant that will grow 7 or 8 feet tall. Giant ragweed grows, and it gives off pollen. And that pollen is carried through the air. It can be literally carried hundreds and hundreds of miles. And so as we get this ragweed and the other weeds, pigweed and all the other weeds, as they begin to pollinate, for those of you that have allergies, you're going to have an abnormal reaction to the common weed pollen, just like you do every year. But now on top of it, because of the 50 inches of rain and the fact that our ground is soaked, mold is growing everywhere. And for those of you that have homes that have been flooded, you've been into your homes. It takes 2 days, then it'll be all over your walls. And it'll get everywhere within a month. If you've got water standing and you don't clean out your house within a month, mold's going to be everywhere. And I don't see how you're going to be able to keep your house. I think it's going to have to be bulldozed completely. You'll never remediate that mold problem. And that will cause you to be that. What that does is for those of you that have allergies, it will increase the allergy load on your immune system. Now remember, an allergy is simply an abnormal reaction by your body's immune system to normal occurring substances in the environment. Weed pollens in the fall, tree pollens in the spring, grass pollens late spring, early summer, year-round mold spores. You have animal danders, cats, dogs, some people allergic to horses and other animals, and dust mites, which are in your bedding. These are the airborne allergens. People with airborne allergies commonly have what we call concomitant or combined food allergies. And you can be allergic to foods on top of being allergic to airborne allergens. And the common foods are wheat, corn, egg, milk, yeast, soybean, because they're in all the packaged foods. And if you have a diathesis or a predisposition towards allergy, the more you're come in contact with a substance that you're allergic to, the greater the reaction will be. And this is different than a fixed food allergy. A fixed food allergy is like you're allergic to shellfish. You eat it, you get hives. You get anaphylactic reaction. That'll never go away. With food allergies, they can be treated through dietary means as well as through immunization or neutralization. But the way you do it is you do an elimination of your foods, and then you rotate them in your diet every 4 days. And that will help you be able to tolerate foods. But say you're allergic to wheat, which many people are, and people that have gluten sensitivities, that's wheat. Gluten is a protein in wheat and in rye and other grains. So those people that have gluten sensitivity really have a wheat allergy. It's what a wheat food allergy. So the foods, if you think of your immune system like a bucket, when that bucket fills up with these allergens, it gets to the top and overflows, you've got your symptoms. So in certain times of the year, there are much less pollens in the environment than they are here in the fall. We get a good hard freeze, in December or January, and the pollens are knocked out. You still have the mold spores year-round. And obviously, when it's wet and warm and humid, mold grows horrifically all over, and particularly in these homes on the west side of Houston and other areas, out in Bear Creek, and I know they have the problems out in Kingwood from the San Jacinto River. These homes that have been flooded are just a petri dish for mold, and that mold is going to cause you significant allergic problems. And we're going to talk about what those symptoms are of allergies when you come back, and we'll talk later on how you can treat allergies safely and effectively and develop an immunity towards them.
And if you want more information on doing a 180 and taking charge of your health naturally, then give one of our wellness consultants a call today at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. You're listening to Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. Please stay tuned.
Now back to Wellness Revolution, your 100% organic, farm-raised, grass-fed, gluten-free, cage-free, non-GMO radio show. Here's Dr. Hotze.
Welcome back to Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. This is Stacey Banfield here with Dr. Stephen Hotze. And if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, then know there is a natural way to address your health issues. You can give one of our friendly wellness consultants a call today at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. And be sure to ask for your personal copy of Dr. Hotze's best-selling book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. And I do want to remind everybody again that we do have podcasts available. Very easy to get to them. All you have to do is go to hotzepodcast.com. That's HOTZEPODCAST.com. And all of our radio programs are right there, and you can listen to them whenever it is convenient for you. And again, we do want to thank everybody who has been downloading all of those podcasts. So Dr. Hotze, thank you again for bringing this issue to light. There are so many people, maybe even 200,000 people is the last figure that got thrown out about homes that have been flooded, and mold is a really, really serious health risk. I know it's been all over the news, and it sounds to me like if you're one of those people and you're in a flooded home, you cannot wait. You have to have professional help, it sounds like, to get the mold out within that month's time if you're going to salvage your home.
And the unfortunate thing is that the mold, the longer the water sits in the home, mold spreads. It gets all over your walls, your ceiling. It gets behind the sheetrock. It gets up in the air vents. And, it takes, the longer it's in there, the less possibility you have to remediate the problem. And you've heard of sick building syndromes. Well, you're going to have sick home syndromes, where the homes literally are going to be the source of illness because of the mold that exists within that entire house and behind the walls. And those molds sporate. And for you who have allergic disorders, recurrent sinus infections, recurrent bronchitis, and asthma, this is going to be a serious health problem. They're literally hundreds of thousands of people in the greater Houston area. I mean, the health consequences of this are really significant. Besides that, this is going to put the stress of the storm for those of you that suffered damage to your home or have water in your home now. The stress level, people say stress brings on disease. Why does it do that? Because the adrenal glands are your stress organs. The adrenal glands make two kind of stress hormones. In acute stress, adrenaline. And many of you all may have felt this, particularly in areas that flooded. The fear, the adrenaline hormone is called the fight or flight hormone. So you had to protect your home. You had to protect your family. You had high levels of adrenaline produced. And many of you all can identify with that. You felt scared. You were shaky. You were nervous. And it wasn't something, it was unremitting as long as it rained and the floodwaters rose. It also causes your adrenal glands to become fatigued because your body is producing cortisol, which is your chronic stress hormone. Cortisol is a natural occurring steroid made by the adrenal gland. And it's a necessary hormone that helps your body when you're in chronic stress mode, which many of you are, and even those that weren't flooded know people that are, and that produces emotional stress, which stresses the adrenal glands. So our city, I can tell you, a vast majority of the population are suffering from adrenal fatigue. Right now, you feel that. You may have not felt healthy going into the flood, but now you're fatigued. You can't think clearly. You ache. You can't sleep. You're having energy problems. You just have no energy now. And that's because your adrenal gland is fatigued and tired. And you put on top of that, those of you that have allergies and the stress of allergies and mold, the ragweed and the mold is going to produce significant allergic disorders in your body, and you've got to do something. All the pills in the world aren't going to solve your problems. I don't care if you take any antihistamine over the counter. This isn't going to solve the problem. You've got to build up your immune system to ensure that it's healthy and that it's strong and that you have good energy production within your cells to strengthen your immune system so you'll be able to fight off the secondary complications of allergies. Remember, allergies are an abnormal reaction to these normal substances in the environment. And what allergies do for those that have allergic disorder, it causes cells that line your mucous membranes in your nose, your nasopharynx, into your throat, down your bronchial tubes, into the lungs. It causes mast cells to rupture. And when they rupture, they spill a chemical called histamine. That sounds familiar. You've heard of the term antihistamine. Drugs are antihistamines. They're meant to block the histamine, and the histamine is released in large quantities, particularly in those of you that have allergies. And the greater the burden of the allergy, the greater the reaction by your mast cells in the mucous membranes, and you're going to have this drainage, and you're going to have this congestion, which is a perfect culture media for bacteria. Your adrenal glands have been stressed. You're not producing enough cortisol. Your immune system's under stress. And this is adversely affecting your ability to prevent those bacteria from beginning to grow on the culture media, the mucus that is flowing in your sinuses, in your nasopharynx, and in your lungs. And bacterial infections see it as it's a culture media for bacteria. So invariably, you're going to end up with bronchitis. Those of you that have asthma, your asthma is going to flare up. You're going to get sinus infections, and this is going to be a problem. And now you're trying to clean out your house, and when you're in there doing it, already within 2 days, the mold has grown, and it's sporating all over your house. You got mold spore. If you want to do a mold count on these homes that have water in them, it'd be off the chart. It'd be off the chart. So if you're going into homes, you ought to have some kind of mask on. I don't mean just something like a surgeon wears when he goes into surgery. You need to get a good filter mask. And I presume you can buy these at Home Depot or something like that, where you have a mask on that filters the air so you're not breathing in that if you're cleaning out the homes. That's very important. I have a good friend of mine who's been out cleaning homes. He has a history of asthma, history of severe allergies, and he's been out cleaning home for the last 3 days, and he's already started, his asthma's flared up, and his home was fine, high and dry, but he's been out helping these people that have problem with flooding and helping pull out their carpet and get rid of the furniture, and he's already flared up to a significant point where his asthma is kicked in. And he's in the middle of ragweed season and weed pollen season, so he's got a big problem. And I know that's not an isolated case. I know many of you are feeling that way. So let me tell you some things that you could do immediately to help you strengthen your immune system. First and foremost, I'm going to recommend vitamin C. Vitamin C functions also as an antihistamine, and I highly recommend I always recommend to our guests that you take 1,000 milligrams per 25 pounds of body weight. If you weigh 200 pounds, you should be taking 8,000 milligrams a day. I would increase that to bowel intolerance. When you take enough vitamin C, it'll give you loose stools. So I would take enough vitamin C just till you start to get loose stools. Make sure you have vitamin C. Vitamin C is also highly concentrated to the point it's 100 times more concentrated in the adrenal gland than any other gland in the body, because it's important in the production of the adrenal hormones, which help you with stress. So you're going to need to have copious amounts of vitamin C. Also, make sure you're on a strong B-complex vitamin. And I don't mean one a day over the counter you get at the drugstore. Get yourself on a good B-complex vitamin. That's very important. So vitamin C, B-complex are important. I'd also just tell you most of you all are low in magnesium anyway, and I would highly recommend that you get some magnesium and be on 600, 800 milligrams of magnesium, mag citrate, or mag glycinate every day. Give it in divided doses. That'll also cause your stools to loosen up quite a bit. And these are important. These are some simple things that you can do, but I would highly recommend you do it. Besides that, vitamin C also strengthens the immune system, and it helps the white blood cells perform their function in killing bacteria. So vitamin C is inexpensive when compared to being sick. So I would highly recommend that you take copious amounts of vitamin C to strengthen the immune system, to strengthen your adrenal glands, and also to help fight your allergy reactions from histamine that is released by the mast cells.
That's right. Great information, Dr. Hotze. And, of course, Hotze Vitamins does offer high-grade vitamin C, magnesium, and B complex. You can always go to HotzeVitamins.com, HotzeVitamins.com, and we have certified nutritionists that can assist you with that. And if you want a complimentary consultation, health consultation as well, then you can call us at 281-698-8698. It's 281-698-8698. You are listening to Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. Please stay tuned.
Now back to the Wellness Revolution. Here's your host, Dr. Stephen Hotze.
Thank you for tuning into Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. I'm Stacey Banfield here with Dr. Stephen Hotze. And if you would like to do a 180 and take charge of your health naturally, then give us a call today for your complimentary health consultation at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. And be sure to ask for a copy of Dr. Hotze's best-selling book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. Here's Dr. Hotze.
Thank you so much, Stacey, and thank each one of you for joining us today. We're talking today about the adverse effect that the flooding is having on your health. For those of you whose homes have flooded or are currently flooded, the big problem, as you're probably well aware, is the development of mold throughout your entire house. If any of your carpet or furniture has remained wet because of the flooding for over 2 days, it must be thrown out. In the water, the water, of course, and the moisture in the home causes the mold to grow. But in the water, the sewage backed up. There's huge amounts of bacteria. You'll never get your furniture. You'll never get your carpeting will never be able to be used. It's got to be thrown out. That's just the long and the short of it is. And if you don't get your house clean within 2 days and get it dried out, you're going to have a significant problem with the development of mold. And mold is a type of fungus. It gives off spores. And for those of you that are allergic, have allergies, those spores are going to be in huge quantities, and they're going to stress your immune system and cause you to have severe allergy reactions. And the allergy reactions, I'll just read or go through a list of what allergies can cause. Of course, they can cause the sneezing, and the postnasal drip, the itchy nose. They can lead to sinus infections recurrently. If you have recurrent sinus infections, you have allergies. End of story. And you need to be treated for allergies. And you don't treat for allergies with pharmaceutical drugs. You desensitize yourself to the allergens to which you're allergic. And at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, we treat for allergic disorders, and we do that by skin testing for all the common weed, tree, grass pollens, dust mite, mold, spore, and animal danders. And we determine at what level of all these allergens. Remember, allergy is a cumulative problem. Your main problem may be the weed pollens in the fall. It may be mold year-round, but it's a cumulative problem. If you react to airborne allergens, you react to all of them to one degree or another. Allergies tend to spread. So you may start one season, you may never have had allergies. I'll give you an example. When we started the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, it was primarily an allergy clinic. We treated for airborne and food allergies. And I would have individuals come in, and these would be women who said, I never had any allergies in my life until I had my first or second child, and now I've become chronically sick. I get sinus infections 2 and 3 times a year, for which I have to take antibiotics. And when women take antibiotics, and it happens with men too, but in women, they can get from the antibiotics kill not only the abnormal bacteria that you're trying to treat, but they also kill normal bacteria that lines the colon and the vagina. And it can lead to female yeast problems, as you well know. So oftentimes women would tell me, if you're going to give me an antibiotic, you've got to give me monostat cream or something, because I always get a yeast infection. You can clean up yeast vaginitis, but you also get yeast in the colon. You get we all have some yeast in our system, and yeast is a form of fungus. And yeast produce all the molds, all the fungus, and yeast produces toxins. And these toxins can be very detrimental to your immune system. And they depress the immune system, and they make you more susceptible to infections, for which you get more antibiotics, you get more yeast in your system, you produce more toxins that are absorbed into the bloodstream, which further depress the immune system, and you get on this vicious cycle of infection, antibiotics, infection, antibiotics, infection, antibiotics, and then you start getting bowel problems, and that was primarily they're called irritable bowel syndrome. It may lead to bloating, belching, indigestion, reflux esophagitis, gas, and yeast grows on sugar, and most Americans have a high sugar diet. You may say, well, I don't use much sugar. I don't hardly use any sugar at all. If you eat bread products, you're eating sugar. Bread are simple carbohydrates, they're starches. It's simply sugar molecules hooked together. So when you eat bread products, pizza, pasta, any type of bread products, what happens, and this is corn too, it gets converted to sugar in your system, and yeast grows on sugar. If any of you all have ever made homemade bread, you need the dough, you get a glass of water, you put Fleischmann's yeast in it. If you want to activate the yeast and the sugar in the water, to activate yeast in the water, you just sprinkle a little sugar into it, it foams up. Well, that's what happens when you have a high simple carbohydrate diet and you've had a history of taking antibiotics for infections. You get the bloating and the belching and the gas and the indigestion. You go to the doctor, he goes, well, you got irritable bowel syndrome. Well, what's causing it? Your question should be. That's not a diagnosis. I know my bowels are irritated. That's why I'm in. Why are they irritated? And the problem is with yeast. I would highly recommend, if you're having a problem, go and look up yeast infections, intestinal yeast infections, and read about that and learn about that. And what that does is it causes inflammation in the bowels. And when you have inflammation, you can become sensitive to foods, because now foods, when they get broken down in the system, larger molecules of the food pass into the bloodstream and the body reacts to them. And you begin to have reactions to foods. So when you eat wheat or corn or egg or milk or yeast or have soybean, what happens is you begin to react to those. Now you not only have airborne allergies, but you got food allergies, and they're combined together, and this puts stress on the immune system, and you become fatigued. You get frequent headaches. You get the sneezing. You get the recurrent sinus infections. You feel dizzy. You may have itching. You got itchy eyes, itchy nose. You get dark circles under your eyes. Kids commonly get ear infections. You may get bronchitis or asthma. These are some of the problems that are going to be associated with the severe allergy reactions you're going to have due to the flood here in Houston, Texas.
And that is certainly a long, long list of symptoms. And the good news is it can be treated naturally. You can give us a call today at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698 for a complimentary consultation. You are listening to Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. Please stay tuned.
Why walk amongst the living sick when you can join a wellness revolution? Here's Dr. Hotze.
That's right. This is Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. We are on a mission to help you achieve health and wellness naturally. If you want more information on doing a 180 and becoming healthy and well, then give one of our wellness consultants a call today at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. Here's Dr. Hotze.
Thanks so much, Stacy, and thanks for joining us on Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. And a revolution is a change in thinking, a change in the way things are done. So we believe here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center that you need a health coach. Every one of you needs a health coach. That means a doctor and a staff of professionals who can coach you onto a path of health and wellness. How many of you out there say, I need to start exercising. I'm going to start tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. But you got a friend of yours that said, you know what, I'm going to get started. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get a physical trainer. And they go in 3 times a week. And while you keep saying tomorrow, They're working out 3 times a week, and in a few months, they look ripped. They've lost weight. They've gained muscle mass. They've got physical endurance. It's important for you, for your health. You can say, well, I'm gonna change my diet. I'm going to get better about eating tomorrow. That's when I'm going to start tomorrow. And you continue to eat a high, simple carbohydrate diet. You flood your body with sugar. Your body can't handle the amount of sugar that you're putting in it, so it converts it to fat, and you gain weight. And when you gain weight, guess what? You get high blood pressure, and you get pre-diabetic syndrome, or you may get adult onset diabetes, and you get heart disease. You get kidney disorders over time. You get degenerative arthritis, and you get your knees replaced and your hips replaced, and you're now a bionic man or woman, and all because you didn't get started eating right. Why? Because you didn't have anybody to coach you. The other thing that happens as you age, your hormone levels are inevitably going to decline. And this particularly happens with women. It happens in men too. Their testosterone levels decline, but as women march through their menstrual life, particularly after childbirth, they often get imbalances in their female hormones. That can adversely affect your immune system. It also adversely affects your brain function, the way you think. So common for women to come in and tell me, I get premenstrual syndrome. Gosh, it's a week before my period or last 2 weeks before my period. After they ovulate, they're not making enough progesterone, and they have a problem called estrogen dominance, which adversely affects the body's ability to properly convert inactive to active thyroid hormone, so you don't get enough thyroid hormone into your power plants and your cells. Your energy level goes down, your weight goes up, you can't think clearly, you can't sleep well, you get joint muscle aches and pains, you gain weight, you get bowel dysfunction, you're susceptible to infections because your immune system isn't strong and full of energy. Next thing you know, you're on all kinds of drugs because you don't feel well. They've got you on antidepressants. They have you on anti-anxiety medication, sleep medication. They have you on anti-arthritic, the anti-inflammatory medication. You may be on blood pressure medication, and your cholesterol's elevated. They got you on statin drugs, and you're piled full of drugs, and you never feel better because drugs make you sicker quicker because they're toxic. You've got to deal with your problems naturally. We've been talking today about allergy. Allergies can be easily treated naturally through a desensitization program where we immunize you to the airborne allergens, to the weed, tree, grass, pollens, dust mite, mold, spore, and animal danders. And that's done through skin testing. And once we've tested to determine at what level you're susceptible to the common allergens, we develop a treatment set for you to receive immunotherapy. And we literally treat this sublingually. We don't use injections. We use sublingual, that means under-the-tongue immunotherapy. So instead of driving to the doctor's office, sitting an hour to the office, driving there, getting a shot, waiting an hour, and driving home, you can take the sublingual allergy drops under your tongue on a daily basis, and that will help build up blocking antibodies that over time, over the first year, will help you develop antibodies that will block the allergy reaction naturally. This is called allergy immunotherapy. Think of it as almost like a vaccine against allergies. You might say, well, I thought you had to get a vaccine. When you get some kind of vaccine, you got to get a shot. Well, we don't take polio that way. We simply take the polio, they just put it under your tongue. When I grew up, they had Salk vaccines. You had to take a polio shot. But now you take treatment for polio sublingually. Well, the same thing is done with allergies. And I can assure you, those of you that have had allergies and haven't had it treated, it's going to be much worse, particularly if your house was flooded, because you're going to have mold throughout your house, on the interior, inside the walls, in your air vents, everywhere that mold's going to be, and you're going to have to rip it out. Frankly, if you've had water standing in your house longer than a week, probably you're going to have to end up ripping out all the sheetrock, get rid of. That's the only way you're going to get rid of the mold. It gets into the sheetrock in front, behind, and it gets into the material that's put between the walls to give you the insulation material. It grows on that. It grows in the air vents, and it's just going to be a huge problem. It's going to take remediation. It's going to have to be mold you're going to have mold remediation, removal of the mold, and that's no easy process to have that done. So I'm just informing you and warning you that if you begin to develop more severe allergies than you've had in the past, and you start to get recurrent sinus infections, bronchitis, you get asthma and it flares up, you need to undergo allergy evaluation and treatment. And we do that here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. That, as a matter of fact, is how I started the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. It was an allergy center. And then it was when women began to tell me after childbirth they had problems, I realized that the hormones played a role in that, and we can help ameliorate allergies with proper hormonal replenishment and balancing the hormones. That's very important, ladies.
Well, and Dr. Hotze, you're reminding me as well that when you got started with allergies, you did that because, well, you thought you were going to get out of medicine for a little while. Right. Because people weren't getting better, and then you ran into an allergist that said, I love my work because people are actually getting better. Right. And so that really inspired you to take that critical turn.
Started that in 1989, and so it was really 1989 was when I started my allergy practice, and we continue to do that here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. We don't talk about that much, but anyway, that's what we do. Listen, if you want to get on a path of health and wellness naturally, you need a coach, somebody to coach you on a path of health and wellness. Give us a call today at 713-212-5950.
That's certainly our live number, and then you can call our office at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. We'd love to give you a complimentary health consultation. Like Dr. Hotze said, everyone needs a coach. You need a health coach. You can't see yourself when you are the picture inside the frame, and so we would love to be able to get you on that path of health and wellness today. So again, you can give us a call at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. Always a pleasure to have you join us. Such great information today, Dr. Hotze. Thank you so much. You have been listening to Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Information provided on this radio program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution radio program advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this radio program is at the listener's discretion.